you showed dead, I wasn't so surprised to see your face and the future's dead. The cars of caution, blind emotion, the streets again, rushing again. It's our night mission, I'm in love with television. It's the transmission. In the end, in the end, in the end, in the end, in the end.
Man, has it been a month already? Where's the time go? I don't know. But hey, everybody, welcome to the latest and great edition of the Netfix. I'm Josh, here to bring you all of the latest and greatest coming to the Netflix instant streaming service for the month of May. I know I keep saying that this show is a constant work in progress, but the one thing that you've been able to count on so far is that Deep Sleep brings you Me and My Television as the opening, and you know, I kind of like the song. So I hope everybody's been doing well over the last month. In case you've been keeping up with, or in case you haven't been keeping up with Semicore Studios, in the meantime, Josh in Transition, the introduction episode has dropped. So if you're feeling froggy and you want to get to know me a little bit better, check it out. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at SkitComic, because Semicore Josh died. SkitComic reigns supreme. So, how are things changing this month, as they always tend to do? Well, if you follow Netflix on Facebook, you'll notice that they themselves made up some handy-dandy little images to really help identify the new shows and the new movies coming to Netflix this month. So I figured I would give that a shot. Use their material instead of some third party just making a list, and see how it goes. I did my usual research on the key titles I really want to talk about, and that hasn't changed. And of course, I will be telling you when these titles will be dropping on the Netflix instant streaming service, but they're just going to be categorized differently tonight. Let's see. Taking a look. It looks like the first page is Netflix originals. The second page has comedies, documentaries, specifically kids and family, and anime. And I guess the final page is kind of a catch-all for their non-original movies and TV shows. So I really only did the research into the final page because, quite frankly, the originals don't always have great synopses, and that's pretty much it. So without further ado, how about we go ahead and get started on the first page with the originals starting on May 3rd, not the 1st, May 3rd. Dead to Me, Flinch, Tuca and Birdie, and Undercover dropping May 3rd. On May 6th, you have Abyss. On May 8th, I know a lot of you are excited for this. It's Lucifer Season 4 coming to Netflix instant streaming. As well on the 10th, Easy Season 3, The Society, and Jailbirds. A title that I have actually quite taken quite a liking to. Patriot Act with the Hassan Minaj. Season 3, I don't know how they're gonna. It's like they did 3 seasons within 3 months. I don't remember exactly when Patriot Act first started, but I know it really hasn't been that long, and each season, has been something like just a handful of episodes. But if this is anything like the other shows, Season 3 usually marks the end. I haven't heard anything about the Patriot Act being canceled but we did hear that One Day at a Time was let go, and that series was amazing. On the 17th of May, Well-Intended Love and The Rain Season 2. White Gold Season 2, and It's Bruno also. And Nailed It, one of my personal favorites. Season 3 is going to be landing on Netflix. That's one of my more, in guilty pleasures, I guess you could say. Watching people cook badly. I know most shows usually involve some sort of skill involved. That's why it's on TV. But nope, Nailed It celebrates the worst cooks in all of us by trying to get bakers to emulate something that they're shown. On the 23rd of May, Slasher, Solstice. On the 24th, High Seas, Altamar, She's Gotta Have It, Season 2, and What If? Now, I thought I read something about What If, and kind of wish I brought that article up. If I remember right, something I thought I'd be interested in. But I don't have it in front of me right now. So we'll skip to the end of the month, May 31st. How to Sell Drugs Online Fast, Bad Blood Season 2, and Black Spot Season 2. And When They See Us, coming soon, which basically means sometime in May, but without a firm date, The Mechanism Season 2. So those are the original series, I'm assuming that's what it means, that are coming out in the month of May. Next we have the movies. We'll just run through this real quick. On May the 1st, that is today, Munafik 2. A lot of these are not English titles, so bear with me. On May the 3rd, Alles ist gut. Despite Everything, A pesar de todo. Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. And The Last Summer, all coming out on May the 3rd. On May the 10th, Scheherazade, Dry Martina, and Gente que Viene Iba. In Wine Country. I'm doing my best, people. On May the 16th, Good Sam. And on May 17th, Morir para Cantar, Maria, and I See You Yesterday. On the 24th, Joy, Rem of the World, The Perfection, on the 24th. And the 30th, we have Chopsticks, and the 31st, Always Be My Baby. The Netflix original movies, I believe. I probably could have done a little bit more digging on that one. But that gets us through the first page. And before we go on, if you want to hit me up on Twitter, let me know what you're watching on Netflix. What are you binging? What do you recommend? Maybe some hidden treasures in the Netflix library that you want to shout out to everybody here. I'll read your suggestions for everybody for next month. I should probably ask sooner. But new on Netflix in comedy, coming in May the 14th, is the Still Laughin', The Stars Celebrate. It sounds like a big celebration of comedy. May 21st, Wanda Sykes, Not Normal, stand-up special from Wanda Sykes, who, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be playing Louise Jefferson in the, not reboot, but sort of a, well, you know how the networks were doing the musicals, live musicals, I think. They're doing a live remake of The Jeffersons and All in the Family with The Jeffersons being played by Jamie Foxx and Wanda Sykes. And yeah, I don't remember who's playing the bunkers right now. And 527, this one I did just read about from Bob Saget. Historical roasts. It's a roast meets maybe drunk history, that kind of thing. And quite frankly, I look forward to it. If you're in the mood for a good documentary this month, on the 1st, available pretty much now, Knock Down the House. On the 3rd, All in My Family. On the 10th, remastered, The Lion's Share. On the 17th, 1994, limited series. On the 22nd, A Tale of Two Kitchens. On the 24th, After Maria. And on the 31st, Killer Ratings. This next category is listed as children or kids and family. So, Cupcake and Dino General Services Season 2, True and the Rainbow Kingdom, Mushroom Town, also dropping on the 3rd. On the 10th, Harvey Girls Forever Season 2. On the 13th, Malibu Rescue. On the 17th, Chip and Potato. And on the 20th, Prince of Peoria Part 2. And it looks like there's only one anime listed for May. I'm just scrolling to make sure I got that right. Yes, one, and it is called Revisions. Now, if I had to recommend two things from this page, I'd say definitely historical roast and Knock Down the House. Knock Down the House, a political documentary. And in this world, in this climate, I know a lot of you are either big fans of certain people or big detractors of certain people. But either way, it's still cool to either learn more about what you like or maybe find out something new about something you don't like. Treading dangerous grounds this month. And finally, the big portion of the show, the reason why you're here, trying to find out, hey, I want to watch movies that I've heard of, right? Well, that's what I'm going to do for you. Because now we've reached the portion of the show where I actually did a bunch of research to find out not only what's coming in the month of May, but, sparsing out some of the less interesting titles and really focusing on the nitty-gritty of what you might want to see. As usual, I mostly did just the research on the movies. The TV shows kind of speak for themselves. And quite frankly, a lot of things are coming out on the 1st, so this is pretty much going to be like 95% available immediately. So how about we just get started with the list, and I'll show you what I got. And keep in mind, I'm just going to say this now, everything's going to be May 1st until I say otherwise. So, starting May 1st, 2009's Angels and Demons, directed by Ron Howard, starring Tom Hanks as Robert Langdon, based on technically it was the book was a prequel to the Da Vinci Code. Well, it came out before the Da Vinci Code, and the movie came out after the Da Vinci Code. So, this is a sequel to the Da Vinci Code. You know what? If you've read the Da Vinci Code, you know who's in it. or if you've seen it, you know who's in it, and you know what it's about. Puzzles and mysteries, all tied to Catholicism and the Illuminati and things like that. So on the first, Tom Hanks will be, you can see him in Angels and Demons on Netflix. What should we go with this month? Rotten Tomatoes? Yeah, let's go with Rotten Tomatoes. 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just going to give you the whole score. 6.7 on the old IMDb's and a 48% Metacritic. Reviews are kind of all over the place, it seems. Some people liked it. Maybe like is a strong word. Some people thought it was okay, and others thought it was terrible. But that's up for you to decide, because as a preeminent internet judge once said, you're allowed to like what you like. Next up, bear in mind we're still on May 1st. In my opinion, a classic from 1997, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. It's one of those movies that came along and just completely kidnapped pop culture with the quotes, and it's a forever quotable movie. From the, I have to do it. I'm sorry, but I have to do it. Oh, behave. Yeah. Instantly regretted that. Instantly. But it's essentially about a spy from the 60s that is frozen until he's needed in the present day, which, remember, is 1997. And stars Mike Myers, directed by Jay Roach. It was hilarious. And it really, in a humorous way, shined a big old fat spotlight of the misogyny of the 60s. And how unacceptable a lot of things were back then. But it is a comedy that I think would hold up today, if you want to check that out. And good news for you, because once you're done with that, you can move on to 1999's Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. It's basically the same thing, except time travel. Austin Powers has to go back to 1969. Did I mention that he plays his own nemesis, Mr. Evil? Oh, wait. That's Dr. Evil? I didn't go to Evil Medical School to be called Mr. Yeah, it was funnier when Mike Myers did it. But this is also where we get characters like Fat Bastard and Mini-Me. I shall call him Mini-Me. Once again, directed by Jay Roach. These movies made a ton of money. And it's no surprise that they made a third movie, which thankfully for all of you is not coming out on Netflix this month. Because it was not good. Next up, it's one of the movies that I fell in love with as a kid, and it would kind of one of my first movie crushes. I know, right? It was 1995's Casper, starring Christina Ricci, directed by Brad Silberling, and it's about Casper the Friendly Ghost. And, well, a friend. I mean, at the time, it was hilarious to me as a kid. I can't say that it probably holds up, super duper well, but it was, partially written by J.J. Abrams, if that makes you feel any good, or if that makes you feel any better. the special effects were, I think, pretty top-notch at the time. I enjoyed it. I didn't give the ratings for the last two movies, but I will for this. IMDb 6.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 44%. Metacritic 49%. I don't know what it is that people didn't really care for about this movie, but it is one of my favorites when I was a kid. So that's why I figured I would spread the love of Casper, and hopefully, if you have young ones, you'll give it a shot. Some scenes might be just a tad bit scary for those super small ones, but overall, it should be fine. Speaking of super scary for kids, we're going to hop back on the Mike Myers train, because director Bo Welch brought us something we did not really ask for, and that's the 2003 comedy The Cat in the Hat, starring Mike Myers. I'm pretty sure all of you know about The Cat in the Hat, and if you've seen the movie, or if you've just seen Mike Myers dressed as the Cat in the Hat, I'm sure that the nightmares eventually stopped, if you're lucky. On the other hand, I just wanted to warn everybody that this was coming. So, if you see a friend or a family member scrolling past this and then they're getting ready to watch it, stop them at all costs. It's a 3.9 out of 10 on the IMDb scale, 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 19% Metacritic score. You've been warned. Next up, another classic comedy from the 90s. In fact, it was so classic, 20 years later, they made a sequel. And, well, actually, I think 10 years after it came out, they made a prequel. And then another 10 years goes by, and there's a sequel. And it's Dumb and Dumber. I don't know if it can be considered a cult classic, because I think it was pretty popular. Again, one of those infinitely quotable movies. You see it and you're like, this is so stupid, I love it. And, of course, directed by, was this the Farrelly Brothers? Or was it just one? I don't. Yeah, I'm just gonna read as listed, as credited, Peter Farrelly, and starring Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. And basically, it's about two idiots that are trying to return a suitcase full of money left by a woman named Mary. And Lloyd's in love with her. Yeah, did I mention they're idiots? I mean, one of my favorite lines, and I still say it to this day. So, those your skis? And the woman applies in the affirmative, and he's like, huh. Both of them? Yeah, it's that stupid comedy. Frozen snot mustaches, fart humor, dead birds. It's dumb. And then it gets dumber. 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I guess there wasn't a Metacritic score on it for this particular site. So, by the way, the site is Google. I'm not trying to hide anything here. It's definitely Google I'm looking this information up on. Great movie. But if you're into real great movies, then I suggest Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, 1998 film directed by Terry Gilliam and starring Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro. I'll just read what you have. They have Raul Duke and his attorney, Dr. Gonzo, drive a red convertible across the Mojave Desert to Las Vegas with a suitcase full of drugs, to cover a motorcycle race. I gotta be honest, I've never seen it all the way through. And I keep hearing that it is absolutely great film. So if you're into trippy Johnny Depp stuff, yeah, this could be the thing for you. It's definitely going to be the thing for me. I'm going to be giving it a watch finally, straight through from beginning to end. But I'm pretty sure it's not one for the kiddos to check out. But hey, I'm not here to tell you how to parent. I'm just here to tell you what's coming to Netflix. It's somebody else's job to tell you how to parent. Next up, 2001 drama, Gosford Park, directed by Robert Altman, and winner of, Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by Cast in Motion Picture. 7.3 on the IMDb, 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 90% on Metacritic. It's set in the 30s and brings a group of pretentious, rich, and famous together for a weekend of relaxation at a hunting resort. Yeah, there's probably more to it than that. I've not seen it, but I'm bringing it up because it is kind of one of those movies that I want to see. Maybe throw it on one day and see what all of the hubbub is about. I like a good film as much as the next guy. So that's what I am definitely going to check out, and that's why I brought it up. Me, it's all about me. But it's not just about me, it's about the family. And in the beginning of May, you're going to get one of the best Christmas movies ever made. That's right. Not the best, because A Christmas Story is the best in my opinion. That is why I am making it a point to take my travels to Cleveland over the summer and check out the original Christmas Story house, which from what I understand has been turned to a museum for the movie, and I can't wait. But coming out in May on Netflix on the 1st, in case you've forgotten, we're still on the 1st, 1984's Gremlins. Yes, directed by Joe Dante, screenplay by Chris Columbus. Yes, that Chris Columbus. Awesome, huh? Basically, guy buys a mogwai for his son. He's told 3 rules. Don't feed him after midnight, don't get him wet, and no bright lights. Well, of course the rules get broken. Gremlins, they're a few more mogwais at first, but then they turn into gremlins. And well, you know what? I'm not doing this beautiful story any justice, but it's one of the greatest family horror movies I can think of. In 1984. They went all out on this one. 7.3 on the IMDb scale, 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, and again, no score for Metacritic on this one. But definitely worth a check out if you've never. How have you not seen Gremlins? What's wrong with you? Sorry, don't mean to berate. Just, honestly, how have you not seen Gremlins? Next up, still, of course, you know what day it is. 1988's Hairspray, not the John Travolta one, but the one directed by John Waters, written by John Waters, and starring Ricky Lake. And if you've heard about or seen the remake, then you already know what's up. If you haven't, an overweight teen auditions for a teen dance show. She wants to be on the show, and that's essentially the beginning. And she wants to use her popularity to help ease racial tension. I guess that'd be a good way to put it. Because, of course, dance is supposed to be universal. And this was set during a time when segregation was still a thing. So she, the overweight girl, helped break down barriers for the races. And that's, you know what? I enjoyed this movie. Sue me. I love musicals. This next one's not a musical, but it does fall under cult classic status. Well, if it doesn't, then the original definitely does. The sequel is what's coming out. Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay. You might recall that Harold and Kumar first went to White Castle and helped spark a resurgence in Neil Patrick Harris's career. What can I say? People fell in love with the fictional Neil Patrick Harris, and it was fun. It was a fun movie. I don't think the second one quite measured up to the first, and that's unfortunate, really, because these characters are enjoyable to watch. They may not have been the next Cheech and Chong because of, stoner comedy, but it was good. It was fine. I'm not going to judge it too harshly, because it is what it is. 6.10 or 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 52% on Rotten Tomatoes, 57% on the Metacritic. Directed by John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg. A lot of people like this movie. Another classic that a lot of people talk about. It is 1986 Hoosiers, starring Gene Hackman. Basically, he's a coach that gets hired to direct the basketball program at a high school in a small Indiana town, and everybody learns a little something. It's one of those movies that you're supposed to watch and get inspired. And yeah, when they showed it to us in school, I got inspired. It wasn't to play basketball or do well in school, but I got inspired to watch more movies. So I did. So hey, thank you, Hoosiers. Thank you, David Anspaugh and Gene Hackman. Yeah, you really gave me a direction in life. Next up, still on that May 1st kick, 2008's Revolutionary Road, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. They buy a house in Connecticut. They have relationship stuff. Golden Globe winner for Best Actress. Academy Award winner for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, 69% on Metacritic. I picked this because it did have that Oscar win. And let's see. Leonardo DiCaprio won for Best Supporting Actor? No. You see that win anything until the bear raping movie, or the rapey bear movie. Won the Golden Globe for Best Actor. Academy Award for Best Costume Design. Michael Shannon is the one that won for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Michael Shannon, I believe you might know him as Zod, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, I think that's the case. So check it out if you feel like it. I might give it a watch. It's not every day we get Oscar winners thrown onto Netflix. So I figured I'd bring it up. Next up, another movie where people just go nuts over it. It's 1983's Scarface. Yes, I've seen Scarface. 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 65% on Metacritic, 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. Reviews kind of all over the place, but basically, Tony Montana becomes a big drug dealer in Miami, Kingpin. The protagonist for GTA Vice City, if you want to compare it to that. Directed by Brian De Palma. Screenplay, Oliver Stone. I mean, it's got lineage. It's got oomph. Starring Al Pacino, of course. Say hello to my little friend. It sparked an entire... I'm not sure how to describe it. Second-hand art and clothing business, because there was a period of time where everyone was just buying Scarface art, wall art, jackets. I didn't get it, but the movie's good. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. Once again, pardon, not one for the kids. Pardon me for a second. Yeah, not one for the kids. But you grown-ups, you're definitely going to love it. Another one, this one, people liked it at the time. But then I think it kind of ran into the ground a little bit. And that's Scream, 1996. They call it a mystery slasher. It's supposed to be a reinvented horror, starring... Who did it start? Matthew Lillard, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Neve Campbell, and basically, long story short, someone in that now classic mask is murdering people, and they're trying to figure out who it is. Who could it be? My favorite piece of the whole Scream saga being Jay and Silent Bob's cameo in Scream 3. Yeah, that's my favorite part. But it's a good one. 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 79% Rotten Tomatoes, 65% on Metacritic. Directed by Wes Craven. It's a good movie. But it might be a little dated at this point because, it all relies on having a landline in your house. It's been parodied to death. Ha! I see what I did there. If you thought Angels and Demons was not enough, well, you're in luck, because 2006's The Da Vinci Code is coming to Netflix on May 1st. Once again, directed by Ron Howard, starring Tom Hanks. It is the title that really put Dan Brown on the map with his writing. Once again, it's about finding clues in paintings to discover religious secrets, and a guy that likes to beat the crap out of himself. It is what it is, man. You're either going to like it or you're not. Tom Hanks is always fun to watch. In fact, I don't think I ever saw Angels and Demons, but I did see this. It's a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 24% Rotten Tomatoes, and 46% on Metacritic. I'll be honest, I think some of that's the backlash of just not aging very well. People kind of turned on the whole Dan Brown phenomenon. Kind of like, if you remember, who was Tim LaHaye in something? The authors of the Left Behind series. The Left Behind series, huge, mega popular around the millennium. Maybe because some people thought the world was going to end. But there were 2 movies made based on the first book. The first one was, well, it wasn't straight to video per se. They came out and said, we're going to release this on home video first. And people are going to love it so much that when it comes out in theaters, they're going to go see it, and they're going to tell all their friends to go see it. I'm not saying that was a stupid move, but wow. I mean, come on. People are just going to stay home and watch it. That series, I think they made a few more movies, Tribulation Force, and maybe some more. But then Nicolas Cage was brought on board for, I guess, a remake-ish. They pretty much only kept the title and the occupation of one of the characters. And, like, the one plot point of everyone's disappearing. Jesus is back. I'm a pilot. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything, it's like all done in the air or something like that. So, the Da Vinci Code, I didn't realize how long this was all going to be. 42 minutes in. Speaking of Jesus. The Dark Crystal is next up, 1982. Make sure it's still on the first. Yes, still on the first. 1982 is The Dark Crystal, fantasy cult classic, directed by Jim Henson and Frank Oz. It is one of those movies that it takes a certain type of person to appreciate, and over time I think more people have gotten on board with The Dark Crystal, but it certainly I don't think it was appreciated in its time. So, if you like Muppets and fantasy adventure films, kind of like Neverending Story, then yeah, check it out. It's definitely one the whole family can sit down and watch together. I'm going to put all these 3 together, if only to save time, because they all come out on the same day anyway. The Matrix trilogy is coming on May 1st, all at once. 99's The Matrix, 2003's The Matrix Reloaded, and later 2003's The Matrix Revolutions. Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Lawrence Fishburne. This is the entire trilogy, and one of them is good, and it's the first one. But if you're going to watch the first one, you might as well watch the rest of them. But the first one's the best. I'm not going to read the reviews for all those because it's 3 different movies. So, okay, the final one I'm really going to dive deep into should be having a sequel in the near future. 2009's Zombieland, starring Woody Harrelson and Emma Stone. And, that one guy, Jesse Eisenberg? Yes, nailed it in one. And the world's full of zombies, so now they're zombie killing. Trying to find the last Twinkie, and it's just a zombie comedy. Watch it. It's freaking hilarious. It's bloody. It's gory. It's filled with swear words. Check it out if you haven't already. And there's kind of a twist at the end where it's like, whoa, that's cool. I'm going to be watching it again. And I can because it comes out on the 1st. Okay, we're just going to shoot through some of these for the rest of the month. Colony Season 3. And Olympus Has Fallen is coming out on the 2nd. Mr. Mom. That's the movie that put Michael Keaton on the map. And, when people said, that guy's going to be Batman? Yeah. They're like, Mr. Mom's going to be Batman? May 3rd. You can see Mr. Mom. Supernatural Season 14. All of it on May 3rd. May 4th, Like Arrows. May 7th, Queen of the South Season 3. And The Heat, A Kitchen Revolution. Or it should be Re-Evolution. I don't know. May 9th, Bathtubs Over Broadway and Insidious. May 10th, Pose Season 1. The 14th, Weed the People. I'm guessing it's about gardening. 5/15, Dennis and Asher Unleashed. 5/16, if I'm not mistaken, Take Me Home Tonight. Is that movie set in the 80s, starring Eric Foreman from That 70s Show. The 18th, The Black Coat's Daughter. The 20th, Rosario Tijeras, Season 2. The 21st, this one's going to be an exciting time for me, although I cannot watch it yet. Arrow Season 7 and Moonlight. That's the... I said I'd throw in Academy Award winners, and there you go. The movie that didn't... Yeah, Moonlight, that one. On the 22nd, The Flash, Season 5. Still can't watch it because I like to watch them all in order. 23rd, Riverdale Season 3. 27th, Outlander Seasons 1 and 2. The 28th, Disney's The Nutcracker and The Four Realms. The 30th, My Week with Marilyn and The One I Love. And coming soon, as I said before, they're coming but don't have a set date. Charmed Season 1, guessing that's the remake. And Supergirl Season 4 and DC's Legends of Tomorrow Season 4. So as soon as I find out Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow when they're coming out, I can... yes, you actually have to find a specific website that will give you the ideal order into watching the DC shows. That way, nothing gets missed. You don't overlap any. You get what I'm saying. To watch it in the proper order. Whew. 48 minutes, and that was supposed to be more streamlined. But I actually like the way that went. If you think that was a good way to do the show, hit me up. Am I talking about too many titles? Am I not talking about enough titles? I'm going to have to hold off on putting the complete list of upcoming titles to Netflix off until the 2nd. So on the 2nd, you can go to semicorestudios.com and get the complete list of every title coming to the Netflix instant streaming in May. Although I did say all of the titles, and when they were coming out, I just didn't elaborate on them. But if you want to see it with your own eyeballs, you can always go to semicorestudios.com on the 2nd. Let's see. Anything else I want to say? Hit me up at Skitcomic, SKITCOMIC. And that's also my handle pretty much everywhere on the internet. You can look for another edition of Josh in Transition. There's actually more content I'm planning on bringing to Semicore Studios. We're doing this, people. We're going to make this a thing. It may not be a money-making thing, but at least it'll be a something to do thing. And finally, if you like professional wrestling, I beg of you to check out the Backstage Slam. It is a wrestling podcast that is co-hosted by yours truly, and it drops every weekend with my battle buddy Michael and Ben. Well, Ben's my battle buddy. Michael's just my buddy. I got their names back. You know what? I hear the music. So have a good night, everybody. Oh, wait. One more thing. It's gonna be May.